Lovability is one of the more important paradigms in a parentally and traumatically illiterate culture. There will be systemic childhood trauma and abuse, emotional trauma, sexual trauma, physical trauma. This can take place in the family system, in the educational system, or later in the work system. But every child that is unloved determines that they are unlovable. And every brain that establishes a bottom line belief, such as I am unlovable, will seek to create consistency within that framework. Now, a child and adolescent are narcissistic by design and by nature. It's appropriate for a child to be self-centered. Therefore, everything that goes on out there is internalized by the child. I am unlovable. Now, if we look at the equation of lovability, we see two ways of getting to the equation. So here's a shape. Let's call it lovability. And there's two ways to arrive there. Because lovability is a convergence or a synergy between a pattern of energy and an observer's ability to love that energy. And we're just going to leave love in the abstract at the moment. It's left that way 99% of the time by people who do not define love. But in order for lovability to exist, there has to be a pattern of energy, and there has to be an ability to love that pattern of energy. So lovability occurs when a pattern of energy meets something or someone capable of loving it. By definition, if somebody loves a stray dog, an infant, someone sick with polio, if someone loves that pattern of energy is lovable, meaning one must be able to love a pattern of energy before anything is capable, meaning no one can love something that is unlovable. So there has to be a capacity to love that pattern of energy, and then it becomes lovable. Now, this is why context is so important. Anything at all is lovable by someone or something capable of loving it. Makes sense. And just about anyone can love something. Now, you think of romantic love, for example, and maybe you can love someone who has a certain size of breast or a certain size of muscle or skin color or symmetry. There's something that you are capable of loving. But maybe you can't love another size breast, right? You can't love, maybe you can't love a snake. Maybe you can't love whatever it is. The witness determines a pattern that they are capable of loving. And in a paradigm or in a context of scarcity, there is also a pattern of energy that usually takes the form of pain and fear or trauma that is unlovable. And that just means that a given person can love this but cannot love this, can love that but cannot love this other thing over here. Now, in order for the phenomena of love, which is, you could consider it a flow of energy, to occur, there has to be an overlap between someone's capacity to love and that which is love, that which meets that that capacity. So if person A, for example, can love a nice boy, well, person A, of course, defines what a nice boy is, because this is all made up in culture. So nice boys, what? Do they say please? Oh, yes, they say please. Do they say, yes, they say please and thank you. See? Nice boys adjust their clothes, right? They take care of their clothes. Nice boys don't say fucking, right? That's not the thing that nice boys say. They say I was in a tizzy, not that I was fucked up, right? So nice boys say this, they don't say that, they do this, they don't do that. And so let's say that 20% of the time, or 20% of me, fits this nice definition of the nice boy. So then you could say that I become lovable to observer A when this part of me is presenting and this other part of me is not presenting. Then that part of me is lovable. And so, the phenomena of unlovability is the phenomena of a bridge that cannot be spanned. Because, over on this side of the water, so here's the water. And over on this side of the water, we have what is capable to be loved. Now, if this side of the water builds out towards reality by expanding what it is capable of loving, like I couldn't love people who were black or who were white. I just couldn't do it, right? Why? Well, because a black person or a white person, they did this to my mother. They could do that. I saw this, and so I'm scared. Well, if you're scared to such an extent that you dissociate, that you enter the reptilian brain is not capable of loving. And so the reptilian brain cannot love. This triggers my fear to such an extent that I enter the reptilian brain, I feel no love. So if, on the other hand, I build this bridge out and say, you know what? I understand that this person may have done that, but that's not everyone of that race. I understand that you might have done that when you were drunk and terrified and lonely, but you're not always drunk and terrified and lonely. And I understand how and why you were lonely and terrified, and I understand that you didn't have many options within a relationally and psychologically illiterate culture, so drinking was better than just being alone in that pain. So I understand that. So you grow out the capacity to love. Now, as you do, more and more of what is becomes lovable, at least by you. Now, the other movement in the bridge is, let's say my wife tells me, when you pick your nose, right? I can't stand that. I really can't stand that. I'd like to feel attracted to you. I'd like to feel loving towards you. I just can't do it when you pick your nose. So she's talking about a boundary, a limit, meaning other people might be able to love you and say, well, it's a finger, it's something, it's an itch. Why waste the time, right? Why waste the time distracting about so much minutia? Of course I love you. You're a good person. You're alive. You've got 5 fingers. There's so many things in common, right? And so, ridiculous to nitpick. Over nitpicking, right? Or nose picking, right? Let's just look at things in a more intelligent manner. But let's say, my wife cannot do that. She cannot look at it objectively. It's just, maybe there was too much trauma, or maybe there was too much shame, dumped on in different around that behavior. And it's like, I don't want to get anywhere near that. And so if I love you, I'm going to get close to you. I don't want to get near those memories. So I don't love you because you pick your nose. And so that's basically, this side of the water saying, I'm unable to move towards you. I can't do it. I won't do it. I'm not doing it. Therefore, you are unlovable by me. But the other side of the water can be able to bridge out that way and tell, okay, tell you what, we'll delete nose picking. It's not a big deal. You can't love nose picking. It's a pity. It's useful sometimes. Gets a little itch. No need to run and get a paper, but fine. You can't love that. All right. Done. No more nose picking, right? Great. Now I can love you, right? Because I can love the one that doesn't pick their nose. But I can't love the one that picks their nose. Well, that's an inability. It's a love disability, meaning you are unable to love something that is. You're not going to end nose picking across the planet. So what you're saying is there's going to be a demographic of people that for whatever reason you dissociate from and will not and cannot love. Now, is the whole world going to change to be lovable by you? No. So then part of the world is unlovable by you, which means you don't get the enjoyment of loving that portion of the world, and that portion of the world doesn't get that enjoyment. And then, I could, your face is fine, the nose picking, but, you're a Democrat. I can't love a Democrat. The Democrats did this, but when my father was, the Democrats did that, I can't love a Democrat. Okay. I'll let go of being a Democrat, right? We won't talk about politics. We're not going to, okay, I'll let that up. But that's your identity. See, an identity is a pattern of thinking, feeling, speaking, doing, and being that delivers a yield. Now, we tend to think that identity is sacred because, that's me, but an intelligent person will put on identities that deliver sustainable well-being and let them go when they no longer deliver sustainable well-being. Someone that says, I believe in money, and every time they get paid, they suffer because how does that happen? Well, maybe they get robbed. Every time there's thieves en route, and so please don't pay me that money. Every time I get paid, I've got to take this bundle of cash down this street, whether towards the bank or and I'm always held up. Please, I don't want the money. I don't want the money. It doesn't deliver well-being. It puts me at risk. I don't want it. Well, that's a shift in identity towards I want all the money to I don't want the money. Why? Because it's intelligent. Why? Because there's more sustainable well-being to be accrued by. First, there was more. We thought there would be more well-being if we had money, but in fact, the well-being is going down. I converted to Islam. Now, I thought I would be rewarded by Allah, right? But instead, I'm surrounded by these Christians. Now they're insulting and being mean to me and my children. I thought it was a good idea. Or, I decided to believe in Jesus in an Arab part of, in an extremist region of the world that is not Christian. Well, suddenly the exact opposite. I joined the Christian church to socialize and do this and do all these things, and now it's putting me and my children at risk. Fuck the Christian church. They're not showing up to stop my 6-year-old being stoned and harassed. This is not a good fit, right? An intelligent person adjusts their identity, their habit of thinking, feeling, speaking, doing, and being, to integrate constructively with the ecology, the social ecology and the natural ecology. I mean, you don't stay wearing shorts when you go to the North Pole. Now, you may be born in Thailand, and shorts may be great in Thailand, and you don't just say, well, I'm Thai, I wear shorts. Yeah, well, you're dead. You go to the North Pole in shorts, and you're also dead Thai. So you adjust your identity. And the same is true in reverse. You don't just go to Thailand and wear a fur coat. Well, I'm an Eskimo. Yes, and you will die of dehydration in that fur coat. So you can be an Eskimo that wears shorts. You can be a Christian that doesn't broadcast that out to extremist Muslims. You can be a Black person that doesn't broadcast, opportunities out to be attacked in a racist, white supremacist neighborhood. So you have to shift your identity in environments that do not bring well-being. And certainly a marriage is a very important part. I used to watch porn, I used to pick my nose, I used to leave my, clean house every week. But that's not bringing well-being for my wife and kids. So maybe I'll clean up a little bit more often, at least stop picking my nose when company's over, watch porn after the kids have gone to bed, or maybe we let go of porn and enjoy, lovemaking with someone real, right? There's an idea. So there's a shift of identity. And the question is, since everyone has a certain amount of influence on their identity, I have a certain amount of agency around what I think, what I feel, what I say, what I do, and how I show up. And if this is a business environment and they love suits and they hate shorts, not my first preference, but you're saying you could love me and you could hire me if I took off these shorts and put on that uncomfortable suit. Yeah. Okay. We'll just delete that from the pattern. And then we'll add this other bit of the pattern. Okay, now I'm lovable? Yeah. Okay. So over here, we have the witness that accepts or does not accept. No, I don't. I thought I could love that, but I can't. Well, that's love disability, right? And then over here you have, well, I could be lovable to you. I don't agree with it. I love the part of me that does this and this and this. I love that part of me. And I don't love the part of me that changes this and this that I like for you. So now we have unlovability, right? Because I can only love the part of me that does what I want because I want to do it, and that's this. And you can only love the part of me that would go this and this, but I'm not doing that. So now we have unlovability. So unlovability is common in a culture that raises people without the strong capacity to love. And it's also common in cultures that raise people that have a low capacity to be lovable. Well, when you don't meet in the middle, because this bridge can come all the way over. You can have a Mother Teresa or a Buddha look at someone who's raping a little girl and feel sadness for the innocence that is lost, and feel sadness for the innocence that was lost long ago in the rapist, and to empathize with both people and to seek to bring understanding, compassion. Where was your innocence lost? What happened to you that hurting little girls makes any sense? How did you learn that in your cult? Who gave you that message or those many messages? And how lonely and painful is it on the inside to be there? Is it as painful as it is for that little girl that you're giving the next wound to? Do you know what she's feeling? Does she know what you're feeling? I know what both of you are feeling. I see it on your face. I've seen it on faces before. And I'd like to engage with both of you in a way that would bring some release, some relief. Are you willing to be loved in this area? Oh, you know, when people feel that they are unlovable, they will not receive love in an area they cannot love themselves. So the perpetrator might walk off and say, no, I feel ugly, I feel disgusting, I'm sorry, I don't want to be seen here. I hate myself. I don't know what's going on, but I know I'm bad and I'm unlovable. But I can love you. I can see you. I can understand you. No, this part of me deserves to be punished. I can't be here. I have to leave. I have to go to a place where other people hate me like I hate myself. You know, so you can have someone with the capacity to love, have that love be blocked by someone who feels unlovable. You don't see how ugly I am. If you did, you'd know I was unlovable. And I can't bear to go through that ritual of a rejection, so I'm just leaving. So for someone to be loved, someone has to have the ability to love them where they are. And someone where they are has to have the ability to be loved, or they will not feel, they will not benefit or be impacted by the love because it will not exist in their belief system. You know, a divine power, a divine ecology, a larger being could be loving someone who feels unlovable constantly. It's possible. But if someone cannot love themselves, will not love themselves, and decides they are unlovable, they will not let that message through. It's too inconsistent. It's too crazy making. But unlovability exists in the area that both sides cannot or will not touch. I can love you there, but you cannot receive my love. I can receive your love, but you cannot love me. I can love this part of myself, but you cannot love this part of myself, right? And so love is about building a bridge. And while we're at it, let's briefly review what I find to be the most cogent definition of love. Not the child love of I need you, not the adolescent love of I want you or I lust after you, but the adult love. Loving enough to care. It's a blossom that slowly opens and then transmits as a virus. It begins with loving enough to care, caring enough to take time, taking enough time to see, seeing enough to understand, understanding enough to empathize, empathizing enough to change, to attune, attuning enough to succeed at the facilitation of first oneself and then another, the realization of our innate human needs to survive, to feel secure, to experience love and belonging, to develop self-esteem, values, ideals, principles, and then earn living by those. Develop one's personal talents and abilities. Bring those talents and abilities into the world in such a way as to create shared abundance. In a capitalist framework, that's make money for other people and make money for yourself. In a trading framework, that's give someone else something that brings them more well-being than what they gave you. And they give you something that brings you more well-being than what you gave them. You exchange energy in a way that creates a synergy of wealth, a sense of abundance, and then become part of something bigger than ourselves. When you love enough to care, care enough to take enough time to see enough to understand enough to empathize enough to attune enough to facilitate the success in oneself and then another and others in the realization of human needs, you are loving, and you will introduce feelings of safety, trustworthiness, gratitude, joy, pleasure in the one being loved, first yourself, then others. And ultimately, you will feel as if you are one. When two people have a profound capacity to love and be loved as adults, there is a sense of becoming one. And when you become one, the virus of love has spread. Hi, I'm Dane Rose. All knowledge begins with a paradigm, and out of that paradigm comes an idea, an awareness that we adopt, reject, or synthesize into something better. It doesn't become wisdom, it doesn't become useful until we take action, until we integrate it into not only our thoughts, but our feelings, our body, our words, and our way of being. For that to occur, we have to move from the passive media paradigm into more active engagement. In the link below, in the More Information section, is an invitation to join a very small, deliberately filtered, high-quality discussion with a group of people who share a common language and want to work with these ideas, with me and with one another, with the sole goal of creating 10 times more sustainable well-being for ourselves and those around us per unit of energy invested. Thank you for watching.